A day of groups, a day of at least preliminary playoffs, and now it's time for grand finals. A best of three is upon us. Broke Boys will take on John Rainbow Squad here in the VESL Rainbow Sixe Siege Championship. Sometime late. That right there is Klimps. And Mason, we've gone through a couple days of things. We thought we were going to end things last night, yet we didn't finish the semifinals till 11, and these kids had school, so that was absolutely not. We've moved on to a third day of play as required, and honestly, I'm pretty excited for it. We've got two pretty good teams up on the cards.
Let's be real, it's probably better for the players that way. Playing that much Siege in one day in the same span and block of time is not that enjoyable and is almost torturous at one point in the end. So I'm glad that the players got to have a little bit of a day off. They could also study, watch the VOD back, see what may have gone wrong or right for themselves and for their opponents respectively. And I'm excited to take on this best of three between John Rainbow Squad and Broke Boys, as Dan mentioned. Broke Boys, we saw a couple of times, both on Wednesday and on Tuesday, but we have yet to see John Rainbow Squad on broadcast, so it'll be fresh faces to the stream, and that's what I'm most excited to see.
Yeah, we get to see some new faces on the various social media platforms. Speaking of the social media platforms, follow us there. The more engagements we get, the more likely it is for us to have multiple streams like this, and we would have been able to see John Rainbow Squad once or twice already. So, you know, it's really a cyclical kind of thing of, hey, if you want to see more, you kind of got to give us more. I don't know. You get the general idea. Also, if you're here at VESL and you're thinking, hey, I wanted to play in this, well, you can head over to vesl.gg to learn more about registration. You've missed out on your opportunity here. I mean, I feel like that's kind of self-explanatory. We're going into grand finals. But down the line, if you want to play in, I don't know, Counter-Strike events, Overwatch events are on the horizon, or when the semester flips and we move back into the fall after the summer's over, and you're looking for some more action across various video gaming titles, well, here's your place.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool opportunities held here at VESL and in the North Carolina high school esports just industry, I guess, in general. Just the competition is very fruitful, fun to watch. I know Dan and I and our observer have had a lot of fun watching these games in the last few days, and no sanity has been lost at all in any of the matches. There's been no craziness, no odd moments. I would never would I. Yeah, I would. I definitely would. I'd definitely be sarcastic on broadcast because that's about the easiest thing you can do. But best of three, grand finals, winner takes the grand prize of the $7,500 prize. Well, Dan, do you know how that's broken out? Do you know? I think it's $4,000, right?
Yes. First place gets $4,000. Second gets $2,500. Third gets $1,000. Third place game, by the way, is tentatively scheduled for Sunday, but that's at the same time as regionals, so we do not believe that'll be streamed. It is still to be determined. I'm going to try and convince the higher-ups to maybe get it pushed to Monday, because I really want to get that game on stream, mainly because we've seen both of the teams in it on multiple occasions, and it would be a nice thing to at least put on broadcast. But that's to be determined. We've got a best of three in front of us. It's Oregon, Cafe, and Chalet. It's at the top rate. Please don't ask in chat. I really put it there. It was very meticulous, and by that I mean I changed one thing on the overlay because the map pool only swapped out Clubhouse from yesterday's single best of three. Broke Boys have played two of these three maps before, and they won two of these three maps before. Clubhouse, the only one they lost, was subbed out, so I suppose they have a clear and obvious advantage.
Well, Montaigne dropped off the board. We've not seen a ton of shield play here in VESL, but a couple times here and there we have seen the Montaigne or the Blitz or even the Fuse shield be brought out. Shields, of course, being very, very strong this season. A lot of Clash. I'm actually shocked to not see a Clash ban with how much Clash we have seen played at this level. But Oregon being our first map, we've been here, well, a couple times now, at least on the VESL broadcast for Rainbow Six. It's Oregon. I mean, is there anything really special to talk about?
No, it's Oregon. That's enough said. We can move on. We can actually move on to Cafe. Exactly. Can we just, like, simulate this to a 7-7 draw, not play round 15, we start at best of three on Cafe without playing Oregon? Cafe is something we haven't seen yet. Honestly, I'm okay with it being played because we haven't seen it. If it was already seen once or twice, I'd be like, come on, man. I know our observers think to themselves, oh, why do we have to go to Cafe? It's got that weird clipping issue on the far west side of the map. It's not fun. Apparently it was fixed. I haven't observed Cafe in a while, so never mind.
That's okay. All observers still hate Cafe just because Cafe is like a tough map to observe. It's very, very square, as our observer described it. So I will describe it as such. It is square.
It is.
That is true. It is literally square. So that being said, hop into the first round. These two teams are playing for the difference of $1,500, Dan. That's a lot of money. I mean, that is
It's a lot of money on a best of 3, especially for high schoolers.
Yeah, exactly.
This is $300 a player.
Is it $300 a player?
Yeah, well,
difference.
It's an extra.
The difference is $300
extra
a player,
$300 a player.
which is yeah.
Let's see. If you win the
that's
4,000, is either 800 per player or 800 per player, or just 500 per player.
That's a lot. That's a lot of money. I don't know what I'd do with that type of money in high school. I mean, that can prevent you from having to work a summer job at least for a few weeks. As KDZ walks in through the Z hallway and immediately finds an opener onto the Valkyrie. No hesitation from John Rainbow Squad. They've gone completely undefeated. They've not dropped a map throughout this season, or throughout this rather one-off tournament. And you can see why. They've started very aggressively, and they've already got this big tower take strat underway, hopping up on that long angle. Voodoo Magic ends up taking down Billy Boy Blaze. A good refrag back there for Broke Boys, as KDZ still looking to aggress inside a trophy with no real help from their team. Most of the rest of that pressure coming from Attic, as Flashy gets a kill onto Voodoo Magic, getting that eventual refrag. And Ellis walked up and found 2 members inside of the kids' dorms. It's only 1 member left. You're Dead, who was an absolute stud yesterday, now has to clutch up for the Broke Boys.
I'd say this is a difficult one to understate the obvious. The second player has been seen inside of Attic, and oh my goodness, the timing. They will be able to take out the Maverick. This becomes a 1v2, and an attainable one at that. Diffuser's been seen. They should know where this Malusi currently occupies, but the flash is a miss, and ironically, it's only a team flash rather than finding the Malusi themselves. This now has to become more of that roundabout take while they gang up with one another. You have to make sure you play the numbers game, because otherwise you could possibly give the round away on that same front. There is not a rotate into kids. That makes things a little bit more difficult. Running into an EDD makes things even more challenging for John Rainbow, but 50 seconds left. You're Dead has a very good way into this round, should they be given it.
It's definitely one of the more mechanically talented players we've witnessed throughout this tournament. You're Dead, perfect information by the attack as Alpha Savage begins to get that case down. You're Dead looks to aggress rather than going for the diffuser. They go for the cover and they find the kill. Only 1 more member to find.
What?
And Savage looking the wrong way. You're Dead. A 1 versus 3 to kick off the map of Oregon. Well done by Broke Boys, albeit scary at most. They're nearly losing that round. Broke Boys started off with a win.
You just overcomplicate that. If you're John Rainbow Squad, you way overcomplicate the 1v3. You see the Malusi, your teammate then gets shot by the Malusi. That's forgivable. You lose your Maverick, that happens. But as soon as you know the Malusi is isolated inside the far side of dorms, and you see there's no rotate into kids, and the impact went into the floor in front of your drone, you have all the information you need. The diffuser then can go down without anybody doing anything about it. And you only have to watch 1 entryway. And if you hear an explosion, maybe 2 entryways. Because then a pseudo-rotate would have been created after the diffuser would have gone down. Instead, they sit inside of kids. They get swung without any coverage because, you know, the diffuser still had to be planted. And then the diffuser looks the wrong direction after their teammate dies from a door frame. It's a lack of communication. It is handing over what should have been a guaranteed first round. John Rainbow Squad did everything right until there was 1 player alive, and then they just took their hands off the keyboard, or everybody started playing with controllers. But at the same time, there's a console tournament going on right now, and I don't even think they would have made that mistake.
They gave 3 1v1s, and it seemed like no one had an idea where the last member was. First, it was Flashy walking in, looking the complete opposite direction. Then it was Alpha Savage to hit a Capcan trap, eventually got the case down, but their cover died rather swiftly, positioning themselves completely away from their teammate, giving yet another isolated 1v1 to You're Dead. And then another kill. Pretty easy as that for who is now on the Legion, and he was originally on the Malusi. You're Dead, who showed us that they were very capable of clutching up moments like that yesterday, and continues to keep that clutch gene in effect today, as KDZ already looking to walk down the tower stairs, and the hero from last round now dropped down to just a sliver of HP. Thankfully, they've got that Rook t-shirt, able to beat up maybe an extra bullet or 2, but You're Dead not looking too hot here at the start of the round, and Broke Boys will be fighting from behind should he go down.
There's no guarantees on that front, though. Probably should have gone down on a couple of occasions in the previous round. I don't even think they took damage in that front. Cancer Crab walks out with a Mossberg, absolutely clotheslines Billy Boy Blaze. There is a refrag, but You're Dead ends up finding a kill regardless. KDZ goes down, and just like that, Broke Boys have a player advantage. Yes, You're Dead is still on low HP, but HP is HP regardless, and one-shot headshots exist, so that's enough said.
It's a little bit expected, though, here on Oregon, right? It tends to be that defender side of map as the elbow wall is wisely reinforced off there by Resource 72, who can also deploy on an Electric Claw if they choose to make sure that wall stays closed for good, because there's no more EMPs. There were never, I don't think, any EMPs brought out by the attack, as Flashy just walks through. Those freezer holes are backwards from the typical side, and it catches Voodoo Magic off guard, but Jacker's right there for the refrag just in time. Now for Savage. I keep saying Salvage. Savage is there, pulls out a goo mine inside a freezer, but the last two attackers split off from each other yet again. No one is next to each other, but I don't know why Resource chooses to swing out into blue. There was no need for it, and that's an easy kill for Please Royal, who now will rotate around and maybe wait for that Lion to recoup with them. You're Dead, who was dropped down on such low HP at the very beginning of the round, still surviving.
Yep, by how much? Still a smoke and 3 flashes available. All 3 of those flashes missed in the previous round, by the way, with a discernible target. Jacked on full HP plus that Rook armor, so you have 145 HP on your 3 shield just waiting inside a freezer, and You're Dead sitting inside the smoke is able to tap down Royal as they swing, and Alpha Savage doesn't react in time. You're Dead was on low health, but the one-shot headshot comes through. I believe that's 4 kills in the round, plus the 1v3 from the previous. Broke Boys have 2 rounds off the back of a single individual, and John Rainbow Squad are punching the air.
And all of 1 bullet was needed to down and potentially kill off You're Dead. But no one from John Rainbow Squad was able to land that shot. No one was within the same zip code of landing a shot on You're Dead, it seemed, in that round. As they pulled a little Stewie 2K action. Walk through the smoke, catch your opponent off guard, and then a very aggressive swing in which I don't know if Alpha Savage was on either 10 FPS or just simply could not react to the speed swing there from You're Dead, who has now collected 3 kills in the last 2 rounds each for a total of 6. And Broke Boys now will send themselves over to Kitchen and Dining. But my biggest concern for this, Dan, for the rest of the game, although it's kind of not been a great start for John Rainbow, Broke Boys cannot rely on You're Dead to kill everyone every single round. Sure, it's worked in the first 2 rounds, but how long is it going to last for? Eventually, someone is going to find the head of You're Dead, and that means someone else from Broke Boys has to step up and do just as much, if not more work, to make sure they win that next round.
So, I'm looking at this from John Rainbow's perspective and saying, okay, what's the adjustment for late round development? I like the Ying being brought. The flashes could miss. Candelas are very difficult to do so with. So, you've got that. You're running smokes again, which could be an Achilles heel. We saw that happen in the previous round. But at the same time, they could just rush this. KDZ is in, and walking through lobby, they could not care less. Almost got headshot by a Capcan trap. I think that would have been a discernible first, but that does not come through. And they have Green Hall control already. This is a great start for John Rainbow Squad. Despite the fact that they have 0 kills, they have almost all the map control they could hope for.
That's all you really need on this site, right? Just get a little bit of control, and now they'll begin to focus their sight lines upstairs and upwards in the vertical play, where there is literally nobody from the defense of Broke Boys upstairs. So this is free reign, free territory to make. Here as Flashy will begin to place those cluster charges. And Resource 72, my friend, we will see you in the next round because you are dead. And that's what the cluster charge is so powerful at doing. Voodoo Magic not far away from facing the same fate as Resource 72 did in that round. They'll quickly hustle themselves over into CCTV as the hatch has been popped open, and effectively the attack can come underway, but it hasn't. Did one of those cluster charges propagate through the floor? Oh, maybe it was just the cluster charge itself that actually was prevented, but You're Dead has hit the floor. They've hit the deck. They gotta try to revive themselves if possible. Flashy, though, gets the kill, and all of a sudden, this is exactly the moment I said. Broke Boys have now lost that main player who's been able to really hold them in these rounds defensively. Someone has to step up. Potentially, could it be Cancer Crab? We saw them have a very good map 3 yesterday. Can they continue that same feat here in round number 3? It's Voodoo Magic! Oh!
I'm sitting here with X-ray vision. I didn't even fully see his outline. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, there's no way you find that one. Cancer Crab follows up with the ACS-12. There's a slug shotgun and its lethality playing off for you. Voodoo Magic has been seen repositioning. The Alibi, alongside their cohort of the Rook, have been seen on the far side of the map. There's the drop and the kill. Good information play, but they don't end up seeing Cancer Crab's reposition towards that bomb chassis, who still knows that White Stairs is occupied. Will the kill come through there? No, Alpha Savage just barely stays alive. There's an entryway into CCTV that would then allow you to get into the site should you take it. And there's a gun barrel sticking out, but Billy Boy Blaze doesn't see it, and they may swing a little late because of it. Cancer Crab has gotten away. Diffuser needs to start to go down. A smoke will allow that to happen as a reswing comes through. There's the Mark 14 paying off, and here comes Jactor. A 1 versus 2 needs to try and find the Diffuser to deny it, but they don't have the line of sight. Diffuser goes down, and the 1v2 kicks off, but against the defense now as the time ticks away from them. First impact misses, a second one's still available, should it be able to be used, but Candelas are available, and I think that first one was just thrown, but it may do more impact on towards the Dokebi, and it's the second impact grenade that lands. Now the Smoke Criminal on the same side, Jactor walking through, however, is seen by the SMG-12. Billy Boy Blaze will not make the same mistake their teammate did prior. Patience is a virtue. So is a first round for John Rainbow Squad.
Although the first impact didn't find its target, the second one landed in the pocket of the Ying. It's the best round opportunity for John Rainbow Squad to get a win on, right? That tertiary bomb site, definitely not preferred, definitely not the best here on Oregon. It was a valiant effort out of the side of Broke Boys, but in the end, John Rainbow Squad finally got the round win they needed, albeit it was a little bit concerning when they started to just drop like flies after getting that 5 versus 3 man advantage, but they recovered nicely, worked together in that 2 versus 2, got the case down, and got the round win. Back to kids' dorms, and dorms we go. Broke Boys hopefully will make a couple of adjustments, not having to leave their poor Malusi in a 1 versus 3. That'll be their best win condition. Maybe get another win here, go back to the basement, win there. Go to tertiary. If you lose, oh well. Get a nice 4-2 split, and you set yourself up nicely for the attack.
Anybody's curious, console bracket also went on over yesterday and Tuesday. Group stage finished off without a hitch, and the finals into both semifinals, grand finals, and the third place tiebreaker were all completed last night. Here are some quick results if anybody saw that and may happen to care. They played all on schedule. They only had one of those best of 3s go to 3 maps. Lil Man Westbrook won their semifinal game 2-1 against D-Rankers, then lost to Hardstuck 2-0 in the grand finals. Hardstuck beat the Founding Turtles and then went on to win the grand finals, and then D-Rankers took the 3rd place position. Final standings in that one: Hardstuck make $4,000, Lil Man Westbrook makes $2,500, and D-Rankers win a 7-5 third place tiebreaker to pick up $8,000 for themselves.
Pretty solid chunk of cash to walk away with as Maverick of Flashy begins to strip away at the bottom this time and hold the angle from the stairs. The only issue I have with holding this angle personally, although it is good, it is kind of a one-way on its own, the only thing exposed is your head. And, well, someone shoots you in the face, then you die as KDZ walks in through the master door and gets downed by cap can traps. Those EDDs can be so deadly for that denial one. Broke Boys are just taking them for free. I mean, those are free picks. It's free damage at the absolute worst. And now KDZ, who's been an aggressive player in many of these rounds, now flips over to Thermite in a supportive role. Still taking the first, I guess, bit of damage in the round. And unfortunately, it's 2 to traps, not even an engagement where he at least has a chance to fight back. And is dusted by Cancer Crab from Attic. Oh, why is the Thermite not opening the wall, man? Like, I don't...
They haven't gotten the Cade Claw off, despite the fact they're playing a 0. You could just throw in a camera from the window, or you can open up a hole large enough to break that through. Flashy's gonna jump in here, but the Doc will end up picking up the downed Voodoo Magic cap can.
It's like that shot never happened, and Voodoo Magic actually gets
Oh.
back up and wins the fight against Billy Boy Blaze. Broke Boys are just not making any mistakes, and all the times they do, it's made up for by their teammates. This is insanity.
Here's the thought, Dan. Here's the thought. I don't know. Play Thatcher, EMP wall, open wall. It's that simple. It really is that simple. Someone's bringing a Cade. They're not Cade tricking, which we've not really seen much of that in this map to date from Broke Boys. Bring Cade and trick. Flashy walks in, but they get dusted because they've walked in straight through the Malusi trap, playing perfectly. That Banshee slowing your roll as you walk on in. Now the last member alive is Please Royal. Anything that hits them will kill them, and it's the bullets of Cancer Crab in from Attic, overhealing themselves and then their own teammate, finding the last body, and Broke Boys extend their lead 3-1, going in round number 5.
Yeah, fun fact, Thatcher would have countered out 3 very impactful operators in that round. The Cade, the Capcan, and the Malusi. An EMP hits any of those 3 operators' primary gadgets, and any of them are disabled. They could have been able to walk in a little bit easier without the risk of being detected. They could have walked through doorways, I don't know, without being blown up on multiple occasions, I might add. And they still would have been able to open up either the attic or the master bedroom wall, if not both. And yet, how about D? None of the above. John Rainbow Squad just again having difficulties discerning what they have to do to break apart Broke Boys. The only round that we've seen John Rainbow Squad pick up thus far is on the tertiary bomb site of Kitchen Dining. And even then it was close. And about as close as it gets. A 1v1 post plant where there was a Pokeball kill. And we're in round 5 and Broke Boys just seem to have a fairly commanding lead of things.
5 seconds to insertion.
Well, Dan,
Attackers are heading
rounds
out to
keep
the
rounding.
bomb.
The Mira now being brought out here by Jacker to face more pressure towards Elbow. I think it's necessary that Mira is brought, not entirely, but it seems like all 5 members, or at least 4 of them, from John Rainbow look to be aggressive here inside of blue. Someone's going to get on that mirror before KDZ just walks in. They've walked in right past the mirror, almost invisible. And they're able to catch Cancer Crab off guard. Elbow control established early on. You're dead, taking a little bit of damage, but doing more of their own to KDZ. But the man advantage still lies in the qualms of John Rainbow Squad. Is now it's up to the defense to fight back against the early pressure, the early map control that's been established here by the attack.
Now, those discs coming through could very well have killed Billy Boy Blaze should they have gone in the wrong direction. We've seen those glitch in awkward positions before. Alpha Savage wants to walk through here, but instead will slow themselves down and start to play with the rest of the team. One of those black mirrors has been popped, but with 2 players on low HP and your dead still not being cleared out of the supply wall, you have so much space that John Rainbow currently possesses that they really can't take advantage of.
Phone call rings out. Anyone near a mute jammer will not have their phone ring in their pocket. Anyone that's not nearby either has to run to one, wait the 16 seconds or so until it rings and hangs up, or step over a mute jammer so it stops ringing. You're dead. Excellent angle through the bomb chassis. Eventually gets that pick back. KDZ now no longer an impact factor on the round, but Billy Boy Blaze hits your dead right back where the first pick, or the refrag rather, was found for your dead. And eventually the Legion dies, flashing out, looking to work their way down Laundry stairs, but they die. They get a kill actually on Voodoo Magic with a hockey puck and find the head of Resource. Last member alive is the Mirror of Jacker, but they've ran out of ammunition as 2 members are walking down their hallway, storming by. The Nitrocell does more damage to Jacker than it could anyone else on the map. And now, 40 seconds left. Case is down. There's a Claymore next to Jacker. They spot it, but they also have to spot the head of 3 more members after taking down Alpha Savage. Jacker just cannot seem to find that angle, but they still got to deal with the Fuse and Laundry, and Flashy will find 3 excellent kills to wrap up the round on the defense. And the attackers get themselves 1 step closer. A round win here would be excellent, splitting that 3-3 half, setting yourself up perfectly for the defense of Oregon.
Finally, we also see that Fuse start to step up in a much bigger way. It had a decent impact back in round number 3
on that dining and kitchen defense. But here, it not only sets up the take, but it actually allows the team to execute off the back of the positioning from those fused charges. And now Broke Boys having to make an adjustment on their defensive side of someone or some kind or another. We're seeing the mute kept over. The only change is Jactor's going onto the Rook and bringing a P90 rather than with the Mira and the Vector. I don't know how I feel about this.
They brought the Rook last time around here on the basement and actually saved your Dead's life potentially, right? Because the Legion had taken a ton of damage in the initial engagement. That was the Nook of KDZ walking down the back tower stairs, who unfortunately lost their own life to your Dead after that engagement took place. But yeah, the Rook, I don't know if that's the best call. I think that the Mira is much more effective. I just think that the defense was not set up in the right positions at the right time because of how fast John Rainbow Squad were able to establish that blue and elbow control, and it looks like it'll be the same attack and take in through blue. They put the ace this time around to help aid themselves. Was that a nade that landed near their own teammate of Royal? It was. KDZ threw a nade, and I don't know what it was intended for, but it didn't hit its target, that's for sure.
We've seen some crazy things. I don't even think that racks up. Oh, KDZ's just going to walk in. There's a Mossberg waiting for them. Head, I believe, was seen, if not a shoulder.
How is there no one on the E-Box wall watching? Oh my God.
You avoid the nade, and then you die immediately. KDZ just walks in off the back of their utility. That is a gross timing for Cancer Crab. Flashy has taken some damage to cap can traps because nobody checks their doors anymore. It's not like that's an operator that's been played nearly every round or anything. Who would have thought to, I don't know, start looking at doors?
Well, 60 seconds have come off the board. Cancer Crab is no longer with us. Flashy, eventually soon, should they find a U-Mine in their near future. KDZ finding their second pick of the round, taking down your Dead. Really opening things up here for John Rainbow Squad. Resource tries to aggress back through elbow, which has not been closed up and patched off by the Kaid this time. Not enough time on your hands to be able to do so. Billy Boy Blaze takes off the head of Resource 72. Cade is now no longer with us. Jactor dies soon after. Voodoo Magic. Yeah, you could try your best here, but in a 1 versus 5, this is a tough task to find yourself in. KDZ has been DBNO'd, but Flashy will walk from behind. It's actually Royal. The ace aggresses rather than trying to go for that plant or reviving their teammate. Eventually, it finds the pre-fire they need, and the kill goes through, giving John Rainbow Squad 3 attacking wins on Oregon.
They come back from 3-0 down. 2-0 down. They pick up the first on their kitchen dining attack, and narrowly at that. They then convincingly dropped the bottom floor on 2 separate occasions, and Broke Boys swap halves with a lot less confidence than they thought they would enter with. John Rainbow Squad, they do make a few adjustments in the attacking side, but it really came down to a lot of their mechanical skill as well. Good entry frags, not allowing Broke Boys to have the space to move about as they did a couple rounds prior. And now, it's a completely different ballgame. John Rainbow Squad's drawn at the half rather than what was statistically going to be 4-2 after at least the first 3 rounds we saw. Now, the defense for John Rainbow Squad, it seems like even with a new team, this is the first time we're seeing John Rainbow Squad on stream, we could not avoid the vigil on the defensive side. KDZ will bring that into the first round of the second half. Flashy's 10-4, by the way. I just feel like that's notable.
10 seconds to go.
And
yeah,
Your Dead, who was previously 6-0-0, if not 6-0-1, is now 7-3-1.
Attackers objective.
Well, it's a race to become James Bond between Resource and Alpha Savage, both with no kills yet.
Resource is the only one that could become James Bond.
No kills and no damage would become James Bond. Technically, Alpha Savage can't become the official James Bond, but they can become the knockoff brand of 07 rather than 007 or 007.
My name is Bond. Jameson Bond.
You do play a lot like James Bond because you can't kill anybody. Actually, he does kill people.
Yeah, I was about to say, what? That doesn't make sense.
Okay, you play a lot like the alias of 007 and the fact of, like, you can't kill anything. Yeah, you suck.
Oh,
anyway, I like this defensive extension in through Closet. This is the first time we've really seen this type of extension played here in VESL. And
Jump scare.
Flashy's just going to walk through. Gets 3 pumps onto Resource eventually, knocking him down. James Bond achieved at just the right time. Thank you to Flashy for getting us the lovely and warranted 007. Cancer Crab takes a good amount of damage, but has not fallen yet, meaning the ace is still available to open up any other walls that could be chosen here by the attacker Broke Boys.
Cancer Crab on low HP does make this a little problematic. I don't think that those Selmas were taken off the board, so that at least gives them some space to work with, but I also don't believe that there were full crouchable holes created because it was only a single set of impact EMPs. What a shot from KDZ. Cancer Crab didn't even turn the corner fully and was already dead before he tried to. And this rotation back to site is so much easier for John Rainbow's squad. They could just patiently wait for Broke Boys to start walking in. And Oregon, this second half at least, is starting to look a little bit better for John Rainbow's squad rather than it was earlier on. Billy Boy Blaze, a couple of missed shots, a few more than a couple of missed shots, but both players stay alive.
Well, aim labs is free, and the vertical grip is better than the angled grip at controlling the recoil. So maybe something to take back after that engagement for poor Billy Boy Blaze. It's always the worst whenever the observer flips to you, and you all of a sudden just have the biggest whiffing moment of your career in that engagement. You're dead. Takes down KDZ though, and now with the Ash Charge from below, does not take into account for Billy Boy Blaze still playing in the Z hallway. Voodoo Magic not quite sure where their opponent is, and Billy Boy Blaze redeems themselves from earlier on in which they could not handle the MP5. Now find 2 headshots with it, leaving the last member alive of Jactor stuck at big window. Nothing they can do. There's almost no time left on the board with 10 seconds left off to hop into the bottom right window. This is easily telegraphed here by the defense in Royal. Will swing out from the top of white stairs. No, it's actually the vertical play in towards bottom white stairs. Finds the kill with the ACSG. And it's an easy first defensive win for John Rainbow squad.
So where's the change for Broke Boys? Number one, they had a good idea at opening up that main wall. They had the impact EMPs for it. They had the ace to play from distance. All that was a good call. The problem is they don't drone beforehand because they were playing against the mute, and they're thinking, oh, we don't really have to drone that close position. And that's what the mute's relying on. Now, granted, that position's probably not going to be played again. If it is, maybe not the greatest decision, but we're headed down to the bottom floor, so it becomes a null and void play for the time being. How does John Rainbow play that in a similar position? You're still bringing the Vigil, so at least there is some ambiguity in defensive positioning. You're bringing the Mira for more information alongside that Valkyrie. You can also play that Mira for tactical play. And I'm honestly thinking here, we have the Mira placed in the right position. I'm already scared.
Well, hopefully, John Rainbow squad will be able to leverage their Mira play and their strats a little bit better than how the rest of the defense has played out down here for Broke Boys. My one concern is the mirror and closet will not be placed because that wall has been reinforced in the reverse, facing towards closet rather than facing towards laundry. Now you could put that other mirror on freezer, potentially. That would also be the play. Yeah, you can't put that there because one of your teammates is a bonehead, Mr. Please Royal. But you can still put at least one of those black mirrors in towards freezer because someone did, thankfully, reinforce that the correct way. Resource is back on the fuse shield with the GSH and has walked through garage and has an opponent just around the corner. KDZ with some well-played shots might even find the head of the fuse shield through the wall, but so far no shots to ring out as the fuse just slowly creeps their way towards split. The Vigil waiting around the corner.
Okay. Timing seemingly getting the better of the fuse, who looks away. A second kill around the corner, wanting to try and finish it. There's still an impact in his back pocket. Could finish it in that front, or just a random spray at lands. KDZ not only finds 2 kills, but stays alive, and with 35 or so HP to boot, they'll get away back to the bottom floor, escape with their life intact, and the Broke Boys are, well, not happy. You can see your dead is, they're calling it off. The audible, however, doesn't have time to come to fruition. I say that as Cancer Crab kills Billy Boy Blaze, so maybe not.
It is still possible here for Broke Boys to make this round work out. It's going to be significantly more difficult. still got those black mirrors to deal with. Redetta walk down Freezer stairs. They have an Ash Charge in hand as Cancer Crab destroys Flashy on that angle. Brilliant shot by the Dokebi, and now the Ash Charge goes through, cracks that black mirror, no line of sight. Now, for the defenders directly through that mirror, instead they'll have to actually peek the head holes in which they could potentially see their life end rather swiftly there, as long as one of the attackers, who Cancer Crab could be that attacker who's been holding a lot of these angles. The Vigil goes for an aggressive swing, but Your Dead finds their third kill of the round now. And Alpha Savage gets one back. At least Cancer Crab's run has been stopped. Jactor has walked down the bottom main stairs. Somehow, in the end, when the dust settles, it's a 2 versus 2. It's anyone's round.
What? How does that nade do as much damage? For some reason, Alpha Savage doesn't move. Now the second nade comes through, but Alpha Savage gives away their position without doing any damage. Jactor, knowing it, sees the gun barrel, will swing and find the kill. Royale falls as well. It becomes, well, a 0 versus 2. Finishing off the kill is all but a formality. And You're Dead, walking through the freezer, ends up being what closes it. John Rainbow Squad, again, a situation where they had advantage, get overzealous, and they lose it. Round ends against them.
I mean, literally all you have to do is just stand still behind your utility and force the other team to plant. I'm not going to lie. I genuinely think that the best strategy for any team that could have played in this event that we've seen so far could have been play Goyo, Smoke, Malusi, and like 2 nitro cells. And just stand there and see if the other team can even get in sight to plant. So far, I haven't seen enough effort for a team to try to get an X, right? I've not seen the ability to smoke and flash and stun opponents off of these angles. Capcan has been a big pick, and I think that that could continue to be deadly if he was picked more and more. Somehow, Alpha Savage has impacted themselves down to below the starting HP for Rook. I don't know how that happened, but it did.
Can you pick up another t-shirt? That should be a thing.
5 seconds to go.
Could you imagine just wearing like 5 Rook vests?
Honestly,
You're just like 200 HP as a beast. That'd be so sick.
If you had an extra 20 HP per Rook vest, we'll even say that you don't get to revive yourself every time. You only get to revive yourself once. You'd have a max of 225 HP or 245. If you get dock stimmed, you would be able to live through a headshot.
You would.
That'd be fun. We should make that a thing.
Defensive version of Blackbeard, but instead your head is just insane. Oh my,
What?
that C4 is amazing. What he did is jumped out the tarp's wall, used the lineup to see if you could get it all the way in through barrels, and you can. You could get it to land right in front of the outside exterior section of barrels where many attackers choose to drone out the defenders. From blue, brilliant C4 and showcase of knowledge there by Flashy. That nets them a freebie as You're Dead also dies now soon after their own teammate of Jactor, KDZ, running amok inside a meeting hall. And it seems like there's no answer. There's no hard breach being brought by Broke Boys for a basement attack on laundry. That one's puzzling.
I mean, we've seen a few puzzling things, especially thus far in this map of Oregon. KDZ swinging decent bit of damage on the Cancer Crab, who ends up re-swinging, but with a narrow angle, and the ACOG to boot, they have the advantage. This should be the pivotal play to start going, if any. Now you don't want to slow down with any momentum you've built up, and yet they press the big red button, which in this case means stop. And yeah, it's still a 3v4, and they still have an HP disadvantage as well.
Can the big red button get you kills? Maybe Resource needs to hit that button one or two more times so that they can finally get themselves at least into this match. Maybe a little bit more so than they are. Starting off 0-8 is never a way you want to start off a grand final. Certainly play in your head later on as the series goes deeper and deeper. Flashy catches Cancer Crab walking in through blue, trying to make a shifty play. Voodoo Magic walks down main. They get dusted by the Rook of Alpha Savage, who finds their second kill of the map. Now Resource, the lone member, in a 1 versus 4, yet to find a kill. Could this be the first? Potentially. Will they find 4 in this round? I doubt it, just simply due to the position they're in. No drones, no information at all, no flashes, smokes, nothing to help aid their entry on through. They spot the laser of an opponent. But do they spot the angle they're on? No, they're looking too low. The Malusi will do a little bit of damage, and Resource is not able to hold on to the Para 308. Royal will find the kill with the MP5. John Rainbow Squad will retake the lead going in a round.
You're looking at round 10 now and saying if John Rainbow Squad pick this up, Broke Boys are, yeah, going to be facing up against a tertiary bomb site of either kitchen dining or meeting and kitchen. But you also have to question, can John Rainbow Squad put together that many rounds in succession? Remember, we saw them down 3-1 or 2-0, whichever number you want to go with. And since that 3-1 number, they ended up picking up 4 of 5 rounds. And they just don't show any signs of slowing down. I'd be surprised if the Broke Boys are able to shut down this top floor defense, especially considering the slight adjustments made to that defense in the last couple rounds. This is a very scary subject if I'm Broke Boys going into these last few, because, I mean, you've picked up 1 of 3 played thus far. You now need to pick up 2 of 3 to close it, and that's just to pick up OT. If you want to win it in regulation, you have to go flawless.
10 seconds to go.
Dorms and Kids Dorms is the site pick.
5 seconds to go.
Last time here, Broke Boys struggled immensely. Got that main wall open. They lost a body early on, and they just could not get themselves in through the white stairs. 2 members, or 3 members even, dying in the Z hallway to Billy Boy Blaze. Probably going to play that same position, I could only imagine, as the Malusi will drop down into kitchen. Wow, I called it. As it looks like an attack again, yet on the master balcony. Is Flashy still playing in that closet position, or has it been reinforced off this time around by the defense? We're to find out. It looks like it's been reinforced off, because there's no way these 2 players would have walked in for that, well, that easily at least. They have no EMPs.
What? Oh no.
How are we going to get the wall, guys?
And
But
the visual swings.
EMPs.
I mean, you could just try and shoot this from below. You
Just
can't
shoot it
prep
through
those
the
nades
floor.
anymore, so that's a problem. But you at least
Could
give
nade
yourself
through
an
the game's window.
opportunity. Maybe.
Yeah, he could nade through the game's window if he wanted to. It doesn't look like any of that is going to come through. Savage getting blinded by Resource in through Attic, who still has yet to find a pick, but could certainly aid their team in by doing so. Could get themselves a 5 versus 3 should a Candela find its mark. So it looks like the Ying just wants to walk in through Trophy, potentially. Royal has taken a lot of damage. I don't know where that could have come from. Potentially Trophy, maybe from below. But the position that John Rainbow Squad have set themselves in, not great.
No, they've also isolated themselves away from this site. Billy Boy Blaze could go for a flank here, and if they at least accelerate things a little bit, there hasn't been a Claymore setup just yet, and nobody's dead to start looking at drones. Alpha Savage goes down, so the next entryway through, C4 misses, or at least does negligible damage, and Billy Boy Blaze decides not to go for that flank and instead dies from head on. It becomes a 1 versus 4 for the already low HP ACS wielder, and no damage done on that initial engagement makes things even more difficult. Cancer Crab walks through, finishes off the down player, and walks in, finishes off the round itself. We're drawn once more here, Mason. 5-5 tie. We will see all of regulation at a bare minimum.
Feeling a little like yesterday, doesn't it, Dan? We're going to guaranteed see 12 rounds played. Yesterday, of course, in our semifinal, we had 36 out of 36 regulation rounds played. 0 out of a potential 9 overtime rounds played. So, went pretty deep in that series. So, we've seen a lot out of Broke Boys, not much out of John Rainbow. Resources on the board with something other than a death. That's a good sign. It's an assist. So, yay. Hey, it's little steps. You'll get there eventually. At some point, Resource is going to turn around. I know it. I can feel it. I think that the Ying is going to pop off in one of these rounds. Maybe if it's not an Oregon, maybe it comes through on Cafe, where Broke Boys, if they do lose this map, need it. They might need it in that moment. It's everyone's time. They've got one time to step up. This would be the one now for Broke Boys if they could win this attack and potentially send themselves into Cafe up a map. That would set themselves up really, really well to potentially close out this grand finals in 2 maps.
I feel like this could end
in 2 maps on either side as well. John Rainbow Squad,
Yeah.
we don't have the maps that they played. Unfortunately, our start.gg page does not tell us. It just tells us that they played the amount of maps and what score they had. But, I mean, considering Cafe's our second map, you'd have to predict Broke Boys selected here, because they won it yesterday. They didn't want to play Clubhouse, and Cafe, the second map, gives them still a reasonable opportunity to pick it up. John Rainbow Squad, they, well, obviously are comfortable with it, allowing it to get through as far as it did. And it's still one of the more default maps in the pool. And both teams have stayed fairly even with one another in this map. There has not been a deficit larger than 2 in this game thus far. And I don't think there's going to be for the foreseeable future. Head angle on both sides. Somehow neither of them take lethal damage. And everybody's still alive other than Voodoo Magic.
Flashy killed Voodoo.
What?
Flashy killed Voodoo, who was also peeking the same exact angle. That's unfortunate. Jacker is opening up the castle barricade with a exothermic charge. It's not the first time we've seen not reinforcements open up with exothermic charges this week. But Jacker finds a kill because of it. Takes down KDZ, currently stagnant at 10, 10, and 7. Solid score line, but you'd like to see the Vigil maybe not die every single round, have a little bit more involvement in the late round with those potential flanks that seem to be so effective at this level of play. Jacker now looking to get that main wall opened up. There's nothing stopping him this time around. No impact trick either as a threat as it appears. As now his 2 teammates have rotated over towards Big Window. You're Dead and Cancer Crab both holding these angles, doing a little bit of chip damage to Alpha Savage, but not enough to dispatch of the rook.
Nade's being prepped here, but this assumes that Royal has been seen in this corner. I don't think they have. Nade is not cooked, so it's really not going to matter how long the gridlock holds it. And they get just behind the close side of that Kiba barrier and stay alive. Jacker finds a follow-up. This becomes a 3v2 in favor of Broke Boys. I don't know if those track stingers are going to extend far enough, though, and Royal seems comfortable in that position. This becomes a split 2v1 and 1v1 at the same time. Flashy finds the flank, down goes one. Jacker putting the diffuser down is not heard, but at the same time, You're Dead is very much so. And Flashy finds a third on the walkthrough into games, dropping down their fellow FBI member, and also making sure they stayed down. John Rainbow take match point.
Taxpayers won't be very happy about the extra ammunition used, but I guess it doesn't matter when you're a high schooler, right? You don't have to pay all those stinky taxes, or not nearly as much as us old people do. But with that being said,
talk about taxes.
John Rainbow Squad. Yeah, I know. Some people are sad. John Rainbow Squad ended up getting the round win that they needed. Can go back now down to the basement, in which I imagine they'll be as successful as before should Brook Boys not decide to bring in a hard breacher yet again, which would significantly limit their ability to open up the hatches, manipulate the defense into those positions that you want them to be in, where they're uncomfortable and unable to handle you. It's the only time to tell is this is one of the first times Broke Boys have faced themselves against this match point marker here on map number 1. If I remember correctly, it was Broke Boys who won maps 1 and 3 yesterday, and they lost map 2. So they're not used to playing from a map behind, if I recall.
Yep.
Is that
They
right?
won Oregon,
so.
lost Club, and then ended up winning Shell.
Yeah, and we've not seen them on Cafe at all, and who knows if John Rainbow Squad have or have not played Cafe. So that'll be a really interesting map to tell. I think that Oregon very well could end out here for John Rainbow Squad. I just don't foresee overtime happening, as there's, again, no hard breaching tools being brought out. The real simple strategy here from John Rainbow Squad should be stand still and force the other team to play.
So, I'd say John Rainbow Squad just sits back here. Broke Boys have taken full advantage of real estate, basically handed it over to them multiple times over. There's no real reason to fight a lot of these close angles, especially if you don't plan on continuously holding them. I like the decision to play T3. Garage is also a pretty decent power position if you want to lock down that hatch. But other than that, you don't have to worry about small tower. You probably don't have to worry about all that much of dirt or construction, because even if Broke Boys have taken it in rounds prior, they haven't done much with it. And this could be the full turtle setup, -1. I'd like that decision.
Well, 2 minutes still. Lots of time for Broke Boys to work their attack. Resource looking to potentially make this entry in through tower stairs. Voodoo Magic aiding their teammate with intel. With that drone in. I love that from the team, right? Using their information. The C4 comes through, but KDZ kills their own teammate. And then Cancer Crab takes advantage of it. But there's still the mirror of Billy Boy Blaze doubled up with the Vigil in that position. As Cancer Crab tries to take advantage of what they thought was a gap, but wasn't. As I don't know how, but Cancer Crab is silently snuck their way up to 15 kills in this match. You're dead, finding Please Royal up above in tower. Could this be the first overtime that we've seen, Dan? We've not seen overtime at all. No, we did. We saw it once. We saw it once back on day one, but it's been a little bit since.
I'd be surprised if OT is going to be locked or avoided here if you're on the front of John Rainbow Squad. You haven't reinforced the hatch somehow, and it didn't come back to bite you, but it's not going to matter. Even playing a buck, they didn't go for the hatch, and they really didn't have to at the end of the day. We will see overtime for the first time since about 8 p.m. Eastern, back on May 14th. It's been about 48 hours or so. And this one decides map 1 of our grand final. Heck of a lot of higher stakes here.
A lot more money on the line in this one than the group stage, of course. This is the only one that there's actual money on the line compared to the group stage, which you played to get to the money line and the money games. 6-6 the score line. If you're new to Rainbow Six or not quite familiar with the rule set, each team will have an opportunity on either side, whether it be the defense or it be John Rainbow Squad to start off on the defense, that preferred side here on Oregon. Broke Boys will start on the attack. Then after the round ends, it is not 6 rounds played yet again and 6 rounds played on each side. No, it is a simple side swap, kind of the old rule set back in like year 1, year 2, where the teams would switch after every single round. Do you remember that, Dan? Remember way back in those days where teams would swap after every round? Yeah, that was rough back in the days of Siege. But now John Rainbow will defend, then Broke Boys will get at least one opportunity to defend. Should John Rainbow win the next 2 rounds and win 8-6, then the series will continue on to Cafe. Should that not be the case, the first team to reach 8 as their overall round score will win this map, and then we will go into Cafe.
I think Cafe could be the deciding map here. I don't know if Chalet is going to be required, especially considering how both of these teams have looked in the later stages of each half. We're into round 13. Neither team has made any, we'll say, discernible and massive round-changing mistakes, apart from maybe round 1 for John Rainbow Squad, where they absolutely tossed a 1v3, but we can chalk that up to being round 1. It happens, whatever. KDZ is occupying Classroom, has not been droned. Shout out the ERC 7 ability. And I'd say they could just go unnoticed here. If this drone doesn't clear them, Gridlock's dead. Maybe not.
Oh, but they don't check the full corner. That's a lazy bit of droning from Jactor. And that might just end up punishing your dead as the Gridlock, who is going to trust their teammates' information, swing through the front door, and might just find themselves dead and watching drones for the rest of the round. KDZ nearly tempted by that player hopping up to the master balcony, and instead of going for that van hop up and doing a little bit of parkour, instead they'll have to go back. KDZ missing their opportunity, and that'll force a redrone. But look how much time is being wasted, Dan. 1.5 minutes spent, and they're not even on the master balcony or up the main stairs, and there's 2 members here preventing this armory-sided take.
They just walk behind him. They do. At least they try. Flashy ends up walking behind. Resource has a freebie sitting in front of them. Resource has a kill as it is on the board. In overtime, it takes them forever and about an extra 29 bullets, but they find the kill regardless, and off the back of it, Cancer Crab has a 3-piece. It's Alpha Savage who needs to 1v5, an ace clutch for the Rook, and without any help, any utility, or any information, your dead says absolutely not, you're not picking that one up. Ace clutch denied if it had even been engaged, and Broke Boys are on map point of their own.
Flawlessly done by Broke Boys. And now they get the defense. They have the advantage. It's all the pressure faced over towards John Rainbow Squad. Broke Boys have done their job on the attack, and all they have to do is win one measly defense to send us in the cafe. It would be the first map the entire tournament that John Rainbow Squad would have lost should Broke Boys achieve that feat.
Attackers need to locate
And I
defuse
believe in
any
it.
bombs.
I do think it's possible.
Do we see back-to-back from John Rainbow Squad?
Can I make a statement? Cancer Crab is Cancer Crab and Resource are combining for 19 kills. Know them.
Attackers have located
But it's really a lot of the work done by Cancer Crab. Of course, Resource has been on a little bit more of a supportive role, right? So maybe not expected to get as many kills in the match. But Cancer Crab on the other end has really been picking up that fragging power after You're Dead started off this match 6-0. Has all of a sudden quieted off. They've only found 6 kills since in the next 11 rounds to continue.
Attackers' objective
Or
is to
10
defuse the
rounds
bomb.
to continue. 11. Yeah, 10. 10. Math is hard.
That's 11. They got
11?
They had 6
Because we're in
rounds by
round
round
13. 2. Round 13, right? So technically 11.
It's 11.
It's
close enough, whatever.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. Does it really matter that much?
We're getting into
All I'm
semantics
saying
at this point.
Is Your Dead has not been killing as many people as he did in the
Earlier.
last 10 or 11 rounds, whatever, than he did the first 2.
Yeah.
That was the simple statement being made.
Wow, that was genius. Okay, well, PSA: electrified barbed wire kills drones and most other pieces of utility, so that's important.
Mute Mozzie Meta who?
Yeah, who needs that when you just have electrified barbed wire? Cade, did they bring EMPs? Okay, yes, they did. Okay, EMP gonna be thrown
Not
through.
sure!
Do we see a
I'm
Cade
so
trick?
happy!
No, it doesn't seem like. So main wall will be open. 5-meter radius of the traditional EMP takes full advantage, and they're popping a Candela right after. It should be perfect. It comes down to the timing. Smokes alongside Flashes. Who has the diffuser? The answer's Flashy, who walks in, takes a decent bit of damage. Resource finds a second kill, make it a third as they actually downed Flashy before the Pokeball of Jactor finished them off. This becomes a 5v3 and Broke Boys have a near guarantee of a round. Diffuser down in the open. Top fragger dead. KDZ is gifted a kill though. Apparently, Billy Boy Blaze was the one who stole it, but either way, it's Broke Boys escaping with a player advantage.
Resource stepped it up when their team needed him most. It was a fast plant attempt executed by John Rainbow Squad, but falls miserably flat. And now KDZ is desperately trying to find another avenue into the bomb site. But Billy Boy Blaze has been stuck in their roll up the main stairs. KDZ and Please Royal, the Thatcher Thermite combo, they go together like peanut butter and jelly. They'll have to see if they can sandwich their way into this round. I don't know where I was going with that. I was trying to make PB&J reference. Oh, it's the Cupcake Trap prone. Well, that's
That should be a
tragic
thing.
for the Thatcher, who will be on a 50 HP less in this round. Cancer Crab could kill these last 2 members, complete the 20 bomb escapade that they're on the way for. But with 40 seconds left, there's really not much that can be done. You're Dead will get back on the board, takes out KDZ, and John Rainbow Squad are 1 death away from losing their first map of this tournament. Broke Boys with the upset win here on Oregon find the map win and will send themselves with a 1-map lead into map 2 of Cafe.
Cancer Crab picks up 19 kills at the end of the day. They combined with Resource for 22, who, I mean, credit where credit is due. Picking up 2 in the final round is a big way of stepping up after it was, we'll say, a less than ideal start to the game. They end up going 0-11 and pick up, what, 3-11 to close it out? Maybe 3-12? It was a
3
good
and
game
12.
from Resource in the last 3 or 4 rounds. But
Hey, they showed
sometimes
up when it mattered most.
that is when it mattered. You come down to crunch time, clutch time, you end up winning the map. Sometimes, who cares about the first 11 rounds if the last 3 are all that count?
Props to Broke Boys and condolences so far, at least, to John Rainbow Squad. There's still at least 1, potentially 2 more maps for John Rainbow Squad to redeem themselves here in our grand final. Remember, these teams are playing for the difference of $1,500. That's a lot of money on the line. And Broke Boys might not be so broke soon. We'll find out if they're not so broke after 2 maps or 3 here in just a few.
Oregon, for the first time, fourth time this event, first time and only time today, has come and gone. It took 14 rounds and a decent OT to snuff things out, but a 2K from Resource, 2 of their 3 kills in the map in 3 rounds, and a nice closeout for Broke Boys puts them up 1-0 here in our Rainbow Sixe Siege Championships powered by VESL. On Time to Light, that right there's Klimps. And Mason, Cafe is on the cards. Another time we're seeing a new map for the first time, and this will be the only time. Question is, will Chalet be required afterwards?
Who knows? I'm just glad that we're not on Oregon anymore. Personally,
Yay!
Ooh,
Not Clubhouse either. I'm
Yeah.
so happy we're not on Clubhouse too.
I am too. It's nice to see something fresh, and although we are going to Square Map, at least Square Map is fun, and we'll bring new and innovative strategies to what we've seen thus far on broadcast. Hopefully the viewers will get to learn a little bit more when we head over into the Russian domain of Cafe Dostoyevsky.
Yeah, and Cafe here, how do you feel about it? Because, I mean, we've seen Cafe a couple times, but, like...
I have a feeling it's going to be like a 5-1 defensive-sided map, because attacking this map, if you don't know what you're doing, can be very difficult, and I don't know which team doesn't know what they're doing on this map, but I have a feeling it's going to be one of them, as Broke Boys ban their very own Fuse. Unless Resource thought that was their pick phase, Fuse is no longer available.
We've seen some crazy decisions. I think that certainly ranks up there. I don't know why you take out the Fuse.
Fuse, Cav. What are the other weird bands we've had? Glaz was a band. That's right. Glaz was.
I don't think it was a weird band though. That was one of the bands that wasn't like abnormal.
Yeah, but it was on like a nothing burger map. It was on Clubhouse, wasn't it?
That's true. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Well, anyways, Fuse and Monty both off the board. Only one shield operator or physical shield wielding operator will be left and available to either squad, whoever chooses to run them. That would be Blitz, very deadly, fast, and flashy, one could say. Solis off the board, very strong here on Cafe. I would expect it to be a Mira or a Valkyrie, but instead it's a Fenrir. And off the board, of course, those FNAP mines are super potent and so annoying, so I don't blame either squad for wanting him off the map. But that does leave Mira, Valkyrie, and Azami, all 3 operators, very good on this map. And we see none of them here on the bar cocktail defense from Broke Boys.
I'd say headed to top floor, you'd probably want to avoid...
Personally, I would
maybe
take
Azami?
all 3 of those operators.
Nah, I think the Azami's the only one that I'd reasonably be saying probably not, especially considering the way some of these teams have played for more spacious outtakes.
Just like
I can't say... yeah,
Just like
whatever.
because the Azami set up in piano on those chairs. Mr. Observer, could you go over into piano and look by the couches? You see that chair and table set right there? You put the Kiba barriers on that position. You put one on the piano stage to block off that angle from the window. Maybe even reinforce the hatch or just have a teammate down below to defend you from there. It is an excellent position to play in. It is so tough for an attack to clear out. But no Azami, I guess no problem.
So, I mean, that would require you to really want to play that position. And we really haven't seen teams on maps play as many power positions as we see in traditional collegiate or T3, maybe even T2 play. So,
It's true.
I mean, nobody's playing Pixel here. You're having a Mozzie play below. This could be a C4 position. C4's already been expended. I don't know where it is inside this room, but I am certain it has been expended somewhere on the roof.
Are they just walking up white into sight? They're just walking up white into sight.
Yeah, I mean,
ADZ is just going to
can't
sprint
blame
up.
them.
And there's no one to stop him. The IQ is all the way at the top of white stairs. We've not even eclipsed a minute in the round. This is one of the hardest positions to take, and KDZ is basically in the bomb site. They've walked in through bathroom. They catch one player off guard, but they don't kill Resource, who starts off the map 1-0, much better than they fared throughout the majority of the last map. But Billy Boy Blaze has made their way deep through piano. Resource gets the shot from behind, and the drop down onto Blaze as another member of John Rainbow Squad dies. Broke Boys get our first couple of kills needed, and only need to find 2 more remaining attackers. It'd be Alpha Savage, the Lion, and Royal, the Jackal, both of which still remain up on the roof.
this point, I think that C4 is still prepped. That's why your dead really hasn't moved. They don't need to put themselves out of position. You're expecting somebody to drop that hatch. And watch for the dead players on the left side of your screen. Cancer Crab is actively watching a drone that your dead has hacked. So you'd have to expect they're watching either the drone that's sitting around that same drop, or possibly the entrance of just their teammates because they're swapping for no reason. EE1D will be popped. That repel for Royal didn't end up meaning all that much. And things have slowed down heavily in this round, but they have seen the rotating Jaeger.
The case is dropped in the middle of Piano. It's a tough spot for the attackers to retake it. Savage is going to swing it through the white hole window, and there's no one to stop him. What?
Hello? What?
Resource might be the one to stop him, but does so much damage, but can't find the kill with the AUG. Alpha Savage will get shot from the white stairs as your dead finally retakes up to help their teammate. And the Jackal, who, by the way, is typically one of the first bodies in the building, is the absolute last who sat on the roof the entire round, really done nothing advantageous or fruitful for the John Rainbow squad attack. And the Jaeger inside a J-Desk and cigar shop finds the kill, and the first round won yet again for Brook Boys.
Boys up 1-0, and they seem happy with that start. There's no reason for them to overextend. They don't make any discernible mistakes. I mean, yeah, a couple shots missed. It happens. But John Rainbow squad have a massive issue. As soon as you lose those first two players, everything else around you collapses. Resource 72 already has 2 kills.
My God.
That is 66% of their total frag count through 14 rounds of Oregon, I might add.
I'm hyped for Resource. This is what I said. This is what I said. Absolute nothing burger on Oregon, and turns it around on Cafe already, hitting that quota of at a minimum of 3 kills, and they'll probably extend for more. Be much more impactful here on Cafe. Now, do I think that a lot of those kills were allotted because of mastermind plays? No. It was simply John Rainbow squad putting themselves in not so excellent positions and not so excellent times.
10 seconds.
And now more kills could be allotted to those anchors on the bomb site, because I see a blitz highlighted by KDZ, and I can only imagine that that blitz is going to come storming in through Bakery against that poor defending soul behind the cupcake racks, should anyone be there.
Like the castle, I'm really a fan of bringing that rook again, just allowing your team to play aggressive if you want to. Arguably better than the dock, just because, I mean, we're going to see a rush again. It just seems like there's very little utility between them and the site. No trap operators again. And,
that's a questionable spot to drone, because the entire wall was soft. The door's right there. But
Rook's just sitting on his phone.
Literally next to the Rook and Prep, and Jacker dies, and no ears, no headphones on for the Rook of Jacker, who's the first pick down, and KDZ already early pressure established, and now Broke Boys will be fighting from the back foot after they lose Cancer Crab. Resource shortly to fall after. You're Dead and Voodoo Magic will have to do some serious heroics to win this round out for themselves, as the Ace could just walk in sight and begin to get that case down. The Vigil now rotates inside of Coat and could deny the plant to the counter defuse from the right angle, but they're not doing so, and the case goes down. Now through Small Bakery goes the flank by the Vigil. This, if timed well, could be disastrous for the attack, but the issue is their teammate of Voodoo Magic has died, and now they're fighting 4 members, and the Blitz will find the kill necessary. Great rebound and attacking round there by John Rainbow Squad, forcing themselves straight through prep and into the bomb site with almost no resistance faced by the defense.
And that is, again, a situation where Broke Boys seemingly just hand over so much control. This time, John Rainbow don't make any mistakes with all the real estate they're gifted. It's like prime on the beach for them, or in this case, on the pier of Cafe Dostoevsky. Either way, it's a round victory, and they're happy with it. They don't make the same mistake of allowing themselves to be cut off and individualized in that aggression. And more importantly, they allow for an extra bit of pressure from above. They play the Ram. It works. I love the Ram selection, I might add. And you get the diffuser down in fairly short order. You don't allow an early flank to have any further impact. You make sure you condense a little bit more, because it's kind of what you have to do at this point. And now it's Doc Rook They're still not bringing trap ups, I might add, and those are pretty impactful in a site like this, especially when you're giving away so much space. And at this point in the game, wait, oh, they're not reinforcing it. They're leaving red head holes. Oh, never mind.
No, they'll reinforce it, but they also opened them the wrong way, so it didn't even matter because it's supposed to be the wall closest to the red stairs is reinforced off. You make head holes on the right side that is specifically made to deny anyone from playing on the bomb chassis, but you can stay tucked up close against the wall should you want to as a powerful anchor position. It looks like KZZ, well, it worked last round. Why not? Just walk in through Bakery yet again with almost no contestation. The castle's still reinforcing out small big. The Blitz could get shot in the back of the head, but where's the swing from Cancer Crab?
He's got his headphones on wrong. There's no way. Now he turns around. KDZ is stuck between a rock, a hard place, and two fairly slow-shooting weapons. But you can deploy a smoke, and he's got help. Billy Boy Blaze walks in, finds a free pick, and KDZ can now just walk in, and he's doing so. Catches out the Rook looking the wrong direction. Somehow that does not do any damage. I am so confused how the impact grenade does absolutely nothing, and the P12 does nearly everything. Royal finds a kill, and Resource is having a staring contest with the Blitz and shooting at their demons. And while all this is going on, lethality from above is setting through, and the Doc does not have a rotate hole because I don't think this can be actively used, and they miss their shots anyway. Resource has another kill. 1v5?
This is his moment, but he doesn't know where he's being shot from. It's the prep window, and Billy Boy Blaze eventually will find the reins on the AK-12. Gets the shots necessary to get the kill. And Broke Boys, 0 for 2 down in Kitchen Cooking. They at least get their opportunity to go back to Bar Cocktail, but where do you go after that? Should you win this site, do you go back? Do you attempt Kitchen again for a third time? I think not. Their attack has been, or their defense rather, has been awful against the attack. They basically just sit there, let John Rainbow Squad have all the control ever. They don't fight back hardly at all. Imagine a Nitro Cell or two, a Malusi Banshee in prep could really slow down that Blitz. Maybe you put traps. Maybe you bring Thorn. The Razor Blooms can be deadly. An Echo is certainly an easy counter. Even a Clash is better than what is currently being brought out by the Broke Boys on the defense, who just cannot seem to get an answer for the Blitz. And instead, well, they'll go back to Bar Cocktail as it seems as though we've telegraphed a rush. The Amaru of Flashy to fly in through the heaven window. Royal to throw down those Candelas from the skylight, and KDZ, God knows where that guy is going to enter from. But chances are, Broke Boys are in for what could be a rough and swift round.
I'm either so concerned for Broke Boys or John Rainbow is going to end up running themselves into the ground, because this will go one of two ways. Either it ends quickly for John Rainbow, or it ends quickly in favor of Broke Boys because they just end up finding the timing. C4 again is prepped under the hatch. It just seems like they're trying to consistently go with that, but they haven't found any payload with it thus far. Blitz is just going to go rushing up the red stairs because no one's there. This could actually be the C4 having its timing, depending on whether they find the killer or not. And they won't have to clear an engine room because they really just don't feel like it at that point. Now you walk up, you EMP off the Blitz shield. This may work. He's going to walk straight into it. 3, 2, 1, pop it. Somebody should know. They find the kill. That's why we pre-play C4s, people. The camera works. The information's good. So too is the kill. And Amaru is repelling. What is going on here?
Oh, they're looking for a cheeky angle by just breaking the barricade, but not enough to actually break the glass. But there's no one here that Flashy can get the angle that they desire on to get a pick. That Blitz dying, no good. And Flashy finds the kill they need. Cancer Crab gets smoked. I don't know from where, but I do know it was from the window, and it was onto the cocktail rotate. You can see the dead body of the Oryx foreshadowed very nicely by our observers. Flashy now looks to potentially Amaru on into that heaven window, but still hasn't chosen to do so yet. And until this happens, John Rainbow Squad are kind of just stuck. Oh.
Imagine he lines this up correctly. There's a very narrow margin in that barricade to try and lock this flash through. It does land, but he doesn't want to try and drop himself in. Jactor hears it, should know that Agara Hook's coming, and does. There's a swing, there's the damage, but no immediate kill. And Flashy decides to go a different direction, only to re-swing a second time. And Resource
is tied for top frag between Broke Boys, and Royal needs to 1v4. I've seen crazy things, especially with Candelas. I don't think this is going to be added to that tally.
W-Man's resource.
What is going on?
I couldn't tell you. What I could tell you is that there's zero teamwork being portrayed here by John Rainbow Squad, at least on this attack. What should have happened is maybe you drop the blitz down the red stairs, and then you bring a Ying to the skylight and you throw Candelas throughout all of Cocktail, throughout Shop, and then you have the Amaru go in through that heaven window while all of your defending opponents are blind. You time that all together with other aggression, maybe dropping down the skylight itself, other drops down the red hatch or a rappel on the Cocktail window. You walk in sight, and it's an easy round win. Instead, none of that happened in order. It was all one by one. No organization at all from the John Rainbow Squad attack, and they get blown to bits by Broke Boys, who now will attempt to go to kitchen yet again, but this time with some adjustments as the Tachanka has been brought out as the counter of choice for the blitz. Of all operators to counter, we chose Tachanka, the only one who makes you put away your gun to actually use your gadget on defense.
I mean, they're running double Russian at least. Capcan and Tachanka.
Oh, so they're
If
just
one
playing for
pops,
home field
you go
advantage.
with the other.
They're
You
just
just
playing for
use,
home
like,
field
the
advantage here on Cafe.
Yeah, Cafe Dostoevsky with 2 Russians.
I see it.
As
I
long
see
as-
the vision.
as-
I see
As
it.
long as we don't turn this into Call of Duty and there's no Russian,
Attackers are heading
it's
out to
fine.
defuse a bomb.
Well, at least if you're Broke Boys. If you're John Rainbow Squad, you'd be very happy. Actually, don't mind the Capcan shops
laid
up
the
there,
wall.
but Jactor needs to watch out because KDZ is around the corner with a shotgun. It seems like the Capcan is well aware they have an opponent upstairs with them, and now they get on a drone. Your position telling them
knows?
all you have to do is shoot through the wall, Jactor. Just shoot through the wall, man. You can just do it.
Jactor
He's
has
right around
no
the
idea.
corner. He's continuing to hold the angle. Royal has no idea. They've just jumped into the line of sight of Jactor, who now will rotate around through the hallway, find the angle, and
What?
gets dropped by the Jackal. But the Capcan drops get the kill anyway, so Jactor's good for 1, and Cancer Crab has the cover to get their teammate back on their feet. But he dies
Jactor
anyway.
dies. Finally, Jactor dies. After a drone sees him, an errant spray through the window kills him. Cancer Crab ends up being the hero. A set of EDDs as what was a dead man's trigger keeps the round going for Broke Boys. And we've thrown a ram buggy onto hard flooring.
metal.
I feel like that just caps off how this round has gone on both sides. Billy Boy Blaze swings through the soft door, and Cancer Crab does so much damage through it. And he finds a headshot, then he killed himself! Oh no, he dies to the Tachanka fire! A drop into the open, Flashy thought that was gonna go well, and it becomes a 1v3 for Alpha Savage, who had 2 kills in totality on Oregon.
I'm having flashbacks to Clubhouse from yesterday. I don't
What?
know about you, but I'm having flashbacks to
I-
Clubhouse and Chalet. And it hurts.
He has no idea. He has no idea where he's being shot at from. Muzzle flash is not a thing. He's staring at his demons. We've seen this from a Dokebi before. It is indeed Clubhouse, but this time it doesn't go nearly as well for the Korean attacker.
Wow. I mean, there's a lot to dissect in that round, Dan. I don't. You know
Okay,
what? You
let's-
go for it. I think you got it.
Let's try and sum things up. I think I've done this before. Let's see if I can do it again.
Once or twice.
Amaru Gara hooks up, is heard, but not seen. There was no shots to the wall. Amaru then drones out Capcan. Ace, I believe it was, repels through a window where Capcan still has line of sight. It was Jackal. Observer just correct me. Thank you very much, Griff.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many
Capcan,
bombs
while
as
retreating, gets shot and downed by the Jackal. Jackal then gets killed by the alibi who was there for coverage. The aforementioned Amaru walks through a trio of EDDs on a double door and dies. Then, and only then, does Ram then have top floor control after killing said revived Capcan, who then tried to go back for more, and certainly got more, just not in the right way. After that, Alibi dropped down the red stairs, did damage onto the rotating ace, who then proceeded to swing and kill Tachanka, attempt to melee barbed wire while fire was falling at their feet, and then subsequently died to that. The drop into Freezer through the hatch for some reason was shut down by Resource 72, who is, by the way, top fragging the lobby and tied with Billy Boy Blaze on that front. And then Alpha Savage, who has 2 kills in 19 rounds of play today, decided to start shooting at somebody who didn't exist. And now KDZ is told that a Capcan is standing there, despite the fact that they knew that already. And they already have White Stairs control.
They've got a couple of pings of information. The Capcan overswings their position. Jactor, who is our star that we followed around last round, already brought down to about 50 HP. Cancer Crab looking to take this engagement onto the sledge, and Billy Boy Blaze will hit the deck after the first kill goes in favor of Brook Boys. And You're Dead takes down Flashy, hiding up above. KDZ is all alone. There's really no support for the Blitz here in this position. The Capcan's Nitro Cell goes nowhere, but to the door frame. And now the Blitz will rotate upstairs, trying to help their teammates aid in this roam clear, but are there Capcan traps anywhere to be found? But the Vigil is right next to the Jackal, gets the kill, now chased out by the Blitz, and KDZ finally handles their problem.
What?
But Cancer Crab revenges from below. Alpha Savage, the last member alive, barely even walking into the building to walk up the white stairs, but they don't spot their opponents in reading, who have been there the entire round themselves. And Dan, in grand finals of the one-off tournament, the attacks from John Rainbow Squad are almost deteriorating as the series goes on.
It just seems like they've got like a cooldown. It's like League of Legends mana. They've only got so many brain cells to go around. And Voodoo Magic.
I don't know who's had the brain cell for IGLing this attack, but I think it needs to be passed off.
Wow! Alpha Savage wins that. Voodoo Magic should have this kill, yeah. Dead to rights. Okay. That at least slows things down and calms it down. That could have been a 1vx, but we don't see it coming. Hey, Alpha Savage is on the board. Nobody is Owen anymore. No, we're good. Everybody has at least 1 kill.
Well. I'm at a loss for words. I feel like the side swap is going to be really important here for John Rainbow Squad to get themselves ahead early on. They brought the Doc, Rook, none of the mentioned Valkyrie, Mira, Azami that we had talked about at the beginning of the map.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
But John Rainbow Squad have to get at least 2 rounds here. Well, technically, they've got to get more than just 2, but they would definitely like to start off with 2 to at least propel themselves to a potentiality of facing into Chalet as map number 3.
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
So, my question for John Rainbow Squad is, what can you do on the defensive side that was not available for you in the offense? Now, number 1, it is information gathering. Here on the defense, they're not playing any info-based operators, except maybe a Capcan, who, on a technicality, could be considered an info-based operator, but that's only because he's also a trap operator. And if John Rainbow Squad's on this defense, I was gonna say they have so much more availability to try and find the heavy hitters or broke boys, and then Your Did finds an opening kill. He's on 8, by the way, so say goodbye to Resource 72 top fragging on that side. And Broke Boys, they realize that they may have to play Chalet again. We're like, we're not going through that again.
Resource and Voodoo Magic are the win conditions. Look, they've only died 2 times, and they've only lost 2 rounds because of it. So if they stay alive, and in theory, if the math maths, then Brook Boys will win the round. That's how it works, right? At least it should be that simple. Alpha Savage playing deep inside a piano, now forced back in towards the pixel position, but they re-aggress. They retake this control. They're really not sure where they want to sit. I'm just going to stop talking about where they're sitting because they're actually continuing to run around. There's also pings. I believe that's Flashy, sitting over by that first bar, that default plant, or also known as Shaiko, in that position. And Voodoo Magic potentially looking to aggress and take that gunfight with the OTS. 90 seconds left on the board. Broke Boys starting to stagnate and stall in their attack, but they've got good information. They know where their opponents are. They just have to take action.
They haven't droned him. They have not droned Flashy from this position. Flashy was leaning house back on Oregon. C4 from Billy Boy Blaze drops out, you're dead. So that's a step in the right direction. Top fragger down. Flashy now has a very good opportunity to play off of this position. But Alpha Savage just swings through Pixel. They die.
Oh!
Follow up onto Billy Boy Blaze. Cancer Crab is done with his map of Cafe. And Flashy stands up at the worst possible time. Resource 72 apparently has their headphones on right, but they don't know exactly where that sound cue came from. Do they clear the backside of this cigar lounge properly? Cancer Crab downs towards the cap can. A swing from the Ying. Both players not sure where the other one has gone off to. And for some reason, Resource had the pistol out. Both still alive, I might add, and Flashy now wants to try and go for the finish if they get the timing to do so. The ace is crawled backwards. Candela goes off at the perfect time. Resource wins the fight against Flashy, who gets absolutely flashed out of their mind. It becomes a royal 1 versus 3. Another EDD goes off, and Voodoo Magic is down to 40 HP. But this becomes a reasonable round if they can pick up the diffuser, but they drop it once more. 10 seconds. Time is against them. Cancer Crab goes down. Resource cannot walk through the Surya Gate. Instead has to go a different direction, but they know exactly where the Aruni is. It comes to the timing. He sees the gun barrel, but he has no idea, and it costs him the round. Chaos personified, and John Rainbow Squad making a run-round game.
Can't pay for this type of entertainment, Dan. I'm enjoying myself a lot watching this. This takes me back to the days, man. Good old Rainbow Six. Whew. My goat Resource making that play up the Whitehall, reviving their teammate, and then what do Broke Boys do?
Defenders, protect your bombs
They
from being
all
defused by attackers.
run scatterbrained everywhere, just not even together at all. And give ones and die and die and die. And they throw the round away. What could have been theirs? 3 members left against 1 with about 20-25 seconds left. All of a sudden boiled down to a 1v1 with 2 seconds left. 1 second and then 0 seconds left on the board. And now John Rainbow Squad will go downstairs to kitchen cooking and kitchen
10 seconds left
prep,
before insertion.
right? Or no, kitchen service and kitchen cooking.
5 seconds.
And they
to go.
will.
They better be cooking.
Well, I hope they are. Last round, I don't know if they were cooking that much, but they gotta cook this time around, and they could even our scoreline here. After round 8, be 4 apiece. Ooh, that one way is filthy. I love it.
Alpha, I actually don't hate this. It allows you to play the backside of site so much to where you're really forced to condense through the main part of Bakery. This could go worse for John Rainbow, but the problem is you then can't play that position in towards Bakery, which makes things a little bit more problematic. We'll see how it plays. Rotero drone going through can clear out a decent bit of utility if it finds the timing, or it can be shot. That's the much more likely scenario.
An attempt here into Bakery. EMP goes through. Wall begins to get opened up rather with ease here by the Broke Boys on the attack. I love this. Seeing it early on, getting that wall open, shows promise here. The attack as KDZ looks to be the aggressor in towards the small big window and finds the kill. Resource no longer available to the attack, but same can be said for KDZ, who's dispatched. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Joe could be dead, however. Okay, this is happening. Billy Boy Blaze is next to their opponent, and
gosh,
You're Dead
no
wins
way.
the fight!
No way.
How do they get it? And Cancer Crab finds one for themselves! Broke Boys only 2 kills away from extending their lead to be 5-3. 90 seconds left on the clock. And it's down to 2 ACOGs to hold these long displayed angles deep into the main entryway of the site, which is that wide open breach. There's no angles pre-established through that triple wall. So this is going to be tough. And his zombie's dead.
Oh, and Alpha Savage has been seen as well. Rotero Drone forces him around. They swing and kill Voodoo Magic. Down goes the Glass. Step in the right direction at least. But the cross is being held. This Twitch, or at least, sorry, the Ace should not have to overextend from this position. You hold the cross and you wait. That should be the call for the Ace. Do not put yourself out of a good position. Don't overswing. Don't try and do something you don't have to. Now, Alpha Savage does have some coverage because of the Kiba barricade, but only some. And that some coverage is very much nullified when you vault a little bit too far outside that freezer window. Cancer Crab finds 3 on the round, and Broke Boys re-extend the lead to 2.
Broke Boys 2 rounds away from closing out this series after taking down John Rainbow Squad 8-6 on map 1 of Oregon. And now have a nice little lead. 5-3 set up here on Cafe. It'll be a reattempt of the downstairs site of kitchen cooking and the kitchen service by John Rainbow Squad, this time with a Mira and a Maestro to aid them in their endeavor. I don't know if those are the operators I would personally choose to bring on this site, but hey, let them
Attackers need to
cook.
locate and defuse as
Haha.
many bombs as they can.
Let him kitchen cook.
Let them.
I mean, what they're doing right now is kitchen prepping. That's for sure.
So Dan clearly doesn't want to get hired back for any more gigs.
You guys are getting paid?
10 seconds to
Dan
insertion.
doesn't want to get hired back. Bad jokes. Bad jokes.
5 seconds left.
L jokes.
Attackers' objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Well, I don't know what to say after that one. I like the adjustments with the castle barricades, both going on the prep door and the other prep door. One going directly to the site, and the other one going to the actual prep door into bakery. We also get the mirror on the main wall. Maestro bubbles looking should the entry be made here by Broke Boys, but it's a lot of work to be done still here on the attack as they drone out the top tower, this time changing up their attack. I like the strategy. Rather than going direct, because although it did work, your defense opponent has now made a change, and you're also making a change. You're playing the game the way it needs to be played, making the adjustments around each other.
You're seeing more team-based adjustment as well. John Rainbow Squad have been playing for each other rather than trying to play individualistic Siege. The swap off the Vigil really tells you that. Castle's going to be good here. The problem is, seeing that the Castle's playing in sight should telegraph that most of the team is in sight, which is true. Everybody except for KDZ, I might add, who is on the top floor and finds a kill with the Alda. They could find a second as he just casually sneaks his way up white and is tucked into the cocktail entrance. Do they clear the corner? Oh no, the Ram has no idea. Cancer Crab goes down. There's a third player on the top floor, I might add. But they should be able to clear out this Maestro as long as the Glass makes enough noise, but they're still holding white. Stairs! No, Jactor shuts it down. Okay.
But still, that value is incredible. Forcing a smoke to be wasted, killing 2 members. The Ram and the Ying both die. Cancer Crab and Resource have been 2 of the better fraggers here for Broke Boys throughout this map. Of course, your dad is still alive and very much so in play. 60 seconds left on the clock. KDZ, excellent job on the roam, albeit with Maestro is a puzzling choice for the roaming operator. He's been playing a Vigil a lot lately, so I don't know why the Maestro pick was the one chosen. But I guess, hey, let him cook. As the John Rainbow Squad has been doing in the bomb site. All 4 members remaining in sight. And with 30 seconds left on the clock, everything's castled off. How are the attackers going to get inside? They're also facing a mirror.
There's no time here. Nade through could at least open things up, but this is almost certainly a round gone already. C4 lobbed from downtown will catch one. Voodoo Magic does take out at least one and makes this a somewhat reasonable round, but Royal swings and kills both. Jactor turned the corner and caught a lineup from his teammate. That is a stray if I've ever seen one. And John Rainbow Squad take full advantage, only a round from tying us up once more, and they are not done with Cafe just yet.
Back to bar and cocktail we will go. See if Broke Boys this time can make the adjustments they need on their attack. Force match point, put all the pressure into the court of John Rainbow Squad. It's absolutely possible. I think we'll see it. I think we will see match point achieved this round by Broke Boys. Do they play their cards right? Do they make the right opportunities, the right choices in this round is truthfully the real question. Dan, can I say that Capcan has been such an effective pick for these teams?
Any trap operator has been an effective pick. Like, I think all events,
Frost,
that's been the case. Frost,
Capcan.
Legion.
The only one that hasn't is Thorn. I don't think we've seen a Razor Group though yet. So
We haven't even seen Thorn play, I don't think.
maybe once. I feel like I saw once, but maybe I'm wrong.
You are the Dokebi shooting your demons there, Mason.
Okay, listen. You guys told me that we didn't have, or that we had Capit's outplayed multiple times, and it was only played once. So, who was right? I wish the Observer would do more observing.
Defender is exposed.
Well, Flashy tries to run out. Does not find any opponents. They had a really solid map number 1 on Oregon, but has really struggled at starting here on Cafe. And that could be as to why John Rainbow Squad are struggling here in this match and find themselves behind here in round number 10. Could someone swing this angle? It doesn't appear as anyone wants to, as your dead begins to slowly work on these hatches. And now the piano wall opened up.
You have some space to work with here if you're Broke Boys. Problem is, if you're on the Broke Boys attack, and you're looking at John Rainbow Squad's defense just so elaborate around this top floor, they're not giving up as much space as we saw Broke Boys do, which means that this entire round is going to be a fight. We saw the Roam in the previous round make sure that's the case, and here Broke Boys, yeah, finally shut down in the previous, but what do they do to respond? Cancer Crab going for the vert over towards the wrong side of the top floor and gets absolutely domed by Alpha Savage.
At least the ace has opened up a couple of walls, but you would have liked to have seen Cancer Crab stay alive a little longer, potentially get that freezer or bathroom wall open to get some better angles established. Royal sitting in a precarious spot, and your dead can't get a hold of the C8. Unfortunately dying while going for the drop. Flashy finds a kill onto Voodoo Magic. Many different members of John Rainbow Squad getting in on the action and getting a kill for themselves here in this round. Flashy still inside of the Humidor. This is not typically the spot you'd see a Valkyrie play, but rather a Mute with a slug shotgun. Instead, Resource finally gets that kill, but is immediately flanked by the Aruni, originally playing up in that heaven spot. Now makes their way up the red stairs, and well, we will definitely see all rounds of regulation yet again.
We are tied at 5 for the second time in as many maps, and Broke Boys just cannot seem to put this one away. They had so many rounds in a row. John Rainbow Squad on the tail end of the first half just didn't seem like they had their ducks in a row. And since, well, the 5-3 lead that Broke Boys seemingly had things to lock it out, they collapsed. It's 4-2 at the half. Each team picked up a round after we swapped, and now John Rainbow Squad are forced onto a tertiary bomb site. This is one of the few times we've seen that happen all game, I might add. And with a couple interesting operators to boot, we are seeing a bandit played on Fireplace and Reading for some reason. They better play top floor with that, but I just don't think that's going to be the case. Mute alongside it. Smoke as well. By the way, we've even seen a smoke kill thus far in this event, in terms of technical trap operators.
Yes, we have. Oh yeah, we have. We've seen a Tachanka kill, and we've seen a smoke.
And a Goyo kill.
Oil kill. And a
Attackers are
team
heading out
kill.
to defuse a bomb.
And someone jumping off the roof kill. An RCXD team kill, and an RCXD regular kill. That's happened. There's been a
We need to
lot
make
of...
like a tally or
Interesting.
like a bucket list of interesting kills in Rainbow Six.
Have we seen an electricity kill? I think we have.
We saw an electricity down.
Okay, maybe it was a down. No kill, though. We need someone to die to the bandit barbed wire.
Aww.
I
Okay.
believe the scope may have blocked off that angle there for the bandit, or it was kind of a one-way almost, that KDZ wasn't able to see you're dead. Now, that could also be a res difference, where KDZ may have been playing on something such as 4-3, while your dead is playing on 16-10, 3-2, where you can see a little bit more of your screen. That could have also been the case, because that's one thing that some players will do, right? They'll change their resolution. It helps them with other recoil control, being able to see other operators. Some of these players may come from CSGO, in which 4-3 is a hot commodity.
I love Counter-Strike Global Offensive, especially its current existence.
Well, especially if there's events by VESL, which
the
there
joke.
may be in the future.
The joke was it's now Counter-Strike too. That was... Never mind.
It doesn't matter. It's still CSGO.
Yeah, it's true.
CSGO is CSGO, and it doesn't change. Broke Boys aren't changing either. They found 2 kills to start off their attack. Jactor also not changing, dying yet again early on here in round 11. Resource taking a good amount of damage, and that's coming from above. You can't plant default, my friend. Not when that vertical control is established. Flashy has dropped down. What is he doing? How does he get that kill in the down? The C4 comes through. Does it find the finish? It does. But Flashy has to get back into the site. Somehow they do. By the grace of God and the skin of their teeth, they're back inside. But Alpha Savage is above, and now Mining, or Dining rather, is under attack. It might be under control.
Wait, but the diffuser's on the wrong side of the map. Voodoo Magic was the one taking that fight earlier with Flashy, so they have to make their way up the white stairs or go somewhere else. There's 30 seconds left, by the way, and it seems like it's going to have to be an engine train fireplace take in the final 30. No C4 available. There's still impacts on Alpha Savage if you can find some vertical angles, but instead, you swing the opposite direction and Cancer Crab wins the fight from distance. Flashy needs to 1v3. It would be a 4K on the round and a heroic play to understate the obvious, but it comes down to timing. Can you find the diffuser? The leg, I believe, was just barely seen. That's us with the X-ray vision. It's not really going to matter at the end of the day. And on 25 HP, you have to 1v3 against 2 very notorious fraggers, and Voodoo Magic, who has had some notorious moments in their own right. Just no easy opportunities given over in this position. Your position already noted, and a swing. If you live, it'll be a miracle. He does around the corner while fat-fingering the mute jammer, but it's not going to matter. Broke Boys go on to match series and grand finals point here in the Rainbow Sixe Siege Championships of VESL, and John Rainbow Squad are facing elimination, or we are headed to OT.
Just as they did last map on Oregon, achieved match points. Will they continue that and find themselves the series win? Or do John Rainbow Squad force OT? It's been back and forth in this half. It seems like it's been a win for Broke Boys, and then John Rainbow Squad fight back. Broke Boys win, and then John Rainbow Squad. Broke Boys won the last round. Will John Rainbow Squad keep up with the pattern? Or will it finally be broken by the Broke Boys? It's back to kitchen and cooking for the final defense, potentially, of this series and of this one-off tournament hosted here by VESL. The Mira being brought yet again for this bakery wall. You've also got the Maestro KDZ. I doubt that they're going to get away with roaming on the Maestro, but I would be one to think that a freezer take would be excellent.
10 seconds
here.
left before insertion.
Just saying.
Flashy's
5
taking
seconds
down
left
the
before
other
insertion.
castle barricade.
Poor guy. Billy Boy
Attackers are
Blaze is
heading
just
out to
doing
defuse a bomb.
work, setting these castle barricades down, and Flashy is taking them. But they're gonna push
Okay,
these
this is
Vulcan
yeah, that's a
through
good call. Here we go.
on the barricade, which will slow down their opponents even longer. With how slow Broke Boys have been on their attacks, that could be genius.
We have Mira put on the freezer. They have KDZ sitting inside of Christmas again. Watch for a sneak up the white stairs. That, or they may just rush it through the soft wall. At this point, it is arguably easier to go through the soft wall here than it is to try and walk through the rest of things. Royals playing their own attempt at this. That was a Gone 6 that they're just rained out beside them, but I think it just missed.
I think they tried to Gone 6 the mirror, which doesn't work. It's only Ash and Callie that have the penetrating ability with their specialized gadget to drill the mirror and break the glass effectively. Capital Firebolt goes through, and the mirror has been taken care of, but KDZ takes care of Resource in through Small Bakery. The Maestro still being punishing as ever, but the Mira dies in wake as Please Royal goes down for what could potentially be the final time this match. It's a 4-on-4. Lots of time still available to the attackers, and with this bakery wall open, there's really not too much stopping them from making an advance inside. Oh.
Just a willy-nilly jump in from Voodoo Magic. Maybe not the most advisable thing. And a reswing from KDZ finds it down. Damage onto two separate players. And that's followed up on by Billy Boy Blaze from the double window. Just like that, it's a 1v4. If you thought overtime was going to be avoided, you'd be wrong. Cancer Crab needs a 1v4, but he finds a first flash, he's dead. KDZ walking up is by no means a quiet player, and he goes down as well. This would be a 16-kill ace clutch from an individual in what would close out what was already a close game. 2 impact grenades is the extent of utility remaining apart from pre-placed utility earlier in the round. But Cancer Crab would have to discern where Billy Boy Blaze has run off to, and where the Rook is hiding. He seemingly knows where the first is, but the opponents, you can see the yellow pings on the HUD of Billy Boy Blaze, certainly know where Cancer Crab is entering from. It really just comes down to timing and how loud Cancer Crab is when they walk in. With the Goyo canister popped on that far side, Cancer Crab just could have walked in themselves, and they decide not to do so?
Oh, this is great. Billy Boy Blaze.
The timing
is rotated in through prep. They could walk through. I think that the shotgun could do enough to rotate through the prep hole. Cancer Crab tries to walk through. They still don't know where their opponents are. They've wasted so much time, and Alpha Savage hops through the freezer window, gets the angle on the breach, and for the second time in the second map of this series, we are going to overtime.
OT is unavoidable, Mason. All of regulation was unavoidable yesterday. All of OT will be unavoidable today. We saw a 14-round game to open things. That'll be the minimum here. Maximum is 15. Broke Boys will start on the attack. Now, this does become impactful when you remember that their defense was a 4-2 split, their attack only 2-4. So John Rainbow Squad has the discernible advantage going to overtime. However, Broke Boys have also, we'll say, shown that they can just upset what is supposed to be the stock standard norm. So I wouldn't put anything up to statistics in a game like this.
Bomb located by attackers.
Back to kitchen we go. Same defensive setup. Same play portrayed here by John Rainbow Squad. Now, if you're Broke Boys, it's almost playing out to be exactly like Oregon. Because John Rainbow Squad had the defense on Oregon. They lost the first defense.
10 seconds.
And then Broke Boys won 8-6 by winning their own defense.
5 seconds.
Could the same case happen here? Yeah. Could it?
It's possible.
It might. We might be seeing history repeat itself.
This is just pointed out by Observer. There's a bulletproof and an evil eye put in near exact same position on the racks just in front of the prep double window. So, yeah. You can see it top right of your screen, or you could about a couple seconds ago. Jacker will see it as he jumps up here. That's a decision.
Yeah, and this is one thing that I think a lot of these high school players need to take into account, right? Drones aren't just something to throw at your opponents and then walk in off of. You're supposed to drone and walk at the same time, right? You drone for your teammate who walks in, and then you call out that information. Your teammate can take advantage of it and you can get lots of kills, lots of control. And if you're able to do that at a high level, but you might just find yourself in the professional scene of Rainbow Six Siege. We've yet to see really that concept of hot droning, so that'd be something I'd love to see an improvement on should we get some more VESL one-off tournaments. But with that being said, main wall is open. Progress established until it's not. Voodoo Magic dies.
She finds their 8th. Grim is being brought. That's the first time we're seeing the Bs brought out thus far. I like the decision. The problem is, what do you do off the back of, well, say, the lack of information here? Bulletproof and Evil Eye still exist in the backside of sight, and Jackter, the one person who could have denied it, they go down. A reswing from the far side. Cancer Crab finds his 16th kill of the game, and it becomes a 3v2 from what was a 4v4 in the blink of an eye. Cancer Crab also knows that Alpha Savage is playing on the far side of that site, and Flashy, reswinging down the red hall, shuts down the ace. It becomes a 2v2.
Case hits the deck. You're dead. Looking to reaggress and swing. Flashy has control of the case, but they've also isolated themselves inside of Coat. Resource can't quite land the shots as the Finka Aggressive is walking into the site. Now potentially taking an engagement with Alpha Savage. They go to punch the Maestro Bubbles, but they're facing him in all sorts of directions so that the You're Dead Finka cannot melee and break that glass. The Finka now rotates around in the hallway, trying to help their teammate, who dies to Flashy. Eventual refrag in play. It's down to the Finka of You're Dead against Alpha Savage. Rook trying to get this round win for their teams respectfully. Case beginning to get planted. There's information aplenty for the defense, but Alpha Savage is not acting on it. They nearly find the angle, but they miss the shots. Eventually, they get the head. And John Rainbow Squad now have match point advantage for themselves, winning their defense, and now only have to win an attack to find ourselves into Chalet.
How does that happen? How do you let that happen? On both fronts, I might add. Alpha Savage watches him plant the diffuser. His teammates watch him plant the diffuser. He sits there twiddling his thumbs like there's not a steady stream of yellow, red pings and comms in his ear. And then he just hits his shots. Sometimes that's all it takes. Broke Boys now go on to the defense. They'll head back to the top floor, where they, by the way, were flawless in this game. And this becomes a completely different conversation. It's not, will Broke Boys shut down John Rainbow Squad? It is, will Broke Boys stay alive against them in Mappa Cafe? Chalet now becomes a very decent reality. But I also kind of forgot that John Rainbow Squad decided to rush nearly every round. So maybe it's not. We'll see.
Yeah, they've tried 2 rushes, right? One being up the white stairs, one being in through that heaven window. Appears the Blitz is back in action from KDZ. Flashy has finally gotten their feet from out underneath them, getting kills, which we haven't really seen very often here, at least on Cafe. Very unlike themselves in Oregon, which Flashy was one of the kill leaders, if not the kill leader, for John Rainbow Squad, if my mind serves me right. The other side, Broke Boys, Cancer Crab having a fantastic series thus far. You're Dead also still matching that same energy, that same pace. It's pretty much as expected from these two teams, right? These players are playing just about as good as we'd expect. Maybe Resource having a really solid map for themselves after struggling on map number 1. The KDZ on the Blitz is just going to walk back up the white stairs again. It's almost another rush play being made here by Broke Boys, but someone's waiting just around the corner. It's Royal, the Oryx, hiding inside a laundry, but their gun can be seen if they stand too far out. The Blitz sees him, but he knocks him down and gets the kill. Brilliant play by Cancer Crab, getting the opener, and the Blitz, the X Factor, no longer available in the attacker lineup.
You think you can use my own abilities against me? Absolutely not. The OG steps up in a big way, or the Oryx in this case. And Broke Boys have the opening duel. Blitz goes down early, and John Rainbow Squad have to be scrambling. The top fragger is down. Basically, what you base your attack around has been dispatched of. Jaeger's identified. So that prone position that was being played in the far corner of Ticket is probably not the best decision to try and stick with, but they're droning you out. They're jackling you out of position, and they're not pushing off that information. That, I don't know, seems like an important part of the execution part.
That's the thing, right? That's exactly what I was talking about in the round before. You've got a drone for your teammates so that they can work off of that information, and so far that's not the case for John Rainbow Squad or for Brook Boys, if that matter. For either team on their attack, as another member falls. This time it's Flashy now. The two top fraggers there for John Rainbow Squad fall. Alpha Savage is not far from doing so themselves. 60 seconds left on the clock, but it's an excellent kill by the Lion. Takes down the secondary fragger there for Broke Boys of Your Dead. Voodoo Magic only has to land one shot onto the Lion, but can't seem to do so as they take a fight with Jackal. It's Please Royal who takes a little bit of chip damage and now falls back down and will potentially look to rotate elsewhere. Could be up the white stairs, maybe with their teammate of Dokkaebi, Billy Boy Blaze, who's also in the midst of clearing out Reading Room and now working their way up white.
40 seconds. Jactor, who had a decent impact back on Oregon, is sitting at 2-11. Resources just hit 10 kills now in overtime. And Billy Boy Blaze, no, he misses all his shots. No, he loses a fight. How in the world can you be so spatially unaware and yet so good at aiming? Jactor, who I just said had no impact, finds his third kill on the game. And so many things that have no business happening in general all happen in the same round, and all of that is to send us to 15 rounds. Should John Rainbow Squad win this, we're headed to Chalet, and the series is tied 1-1. If Broke Boys win it, each of them are $800 richer than they were just minutes ago, and they pick up the lion's share of the $7,500 prize pool for PC.
Well, in theory, they're already $500 richer than they were before they started this event.
Yeah.
Or $400 richer.
No, it's
But
fine.
they could double that. Oh yeah, fine. It's $2,500, right? So they're $500 richer than before they started, but they could be $300 richer and guarantee that should they win this map. I'd say it's a pretty good haul to walk away with. All you've got to do is win this round. Simple as that. The Ying, the Sense, the Glass. A crafty lineup being brought out by Broke Boys. Will they be not so broke after all? And in the end, can they close out the series here in round 15 of map number 2 on Cafe? Tight as ever is the competition.
10 seconds left.
I don't know how we're here, Dan. This is not what I was expecting going into this match. I didn't expect it to be this close after the history from
Attackers are
John
heading out to
Rainbow
defuse the bomb.
Squad. Going undefeated. Not dropping a map against anyone throughout the tournament. I thought it was going to be a clean sweep 2-0. Easy said and done. But Brook Boys have brought their A game today. And John Rainbow Squad, they haven't faced much adversity throughout this tournament thus far. Finally, someone is sticking it to the man.
Good for them.
Evil eye deployed.
Good for them. John Rainbow Squad, honestly, I was in the same boat. They hadn't dropped a map before. They'd played a team we'd already seen on stream, and just it wasn't close. They'd played a best of 3 and had no problems. I was looking at this series and saying, you know, we may not be here for very long. Billy Boy Blaze, it may not be here for very long. I'm not sure if a drone has seen them. It does not seem like that's the case. But as soon as the EE1D pops, they end up moving into Harry Potter, only to take a heck of a lot of damage from the long side of that hallway. Flash through a vault. There's no way you live here. But Cancer Crab flashed himself only to still win the fight. That's 18 kills, by the way. Cams are given over, and all of these Maestro cams are now Korean.
Yeah, it's now going to be aided by the attackers to get that really annoying Dokkaebi symbol. They're identifying to the defenders that, yeah, someone's got one of your cell phones hacked. Nice and easy. You've got so much information now. Cancer Crab can literally flip through bulletproofs, bubbles, and Valkyrie black eye cameras and just identify about every single player on the defense. Finally, they realize that that camera is spotting them, but there's still more hanging around in sight. I mean, that one bulletproof isn't going to really do much. There's also all of the Black Eyes resource, unfortunately missing the Rotero drone to pop on the Aruni Sira gate.
He thought it exploded.
With 60 seconds left, can Broke Boys find the entry in sight?
So there's just a flurry of flashes thrown through, but they don't hit all that much. You're Dead is walking up, knows one player sitting Pixel, but doesn't end up having the drop on him. Knows a second is sitting in Freezer, but has the drop on them. There's another player sitting inside of there, but he doesn't care. He's going for the Aruni. Alpha Savage is swinging the opposite direction, but it's Royal who wins the fight themselves. You're Dead is indeed, and it's down to 40 seconds. 4v3. Alpha Savage flashed off their angle inside of Bathroom, but Jactor could just drop if they wanted to. Another Rotero drone goes up, but it's not going to be needed. Still knowing there's a player sitting on the main balcony, while also simultaneously knowing there's a player sitting in Freezer, and that final Freezer defense, it is frozen out of potential. Broke Boys run the gauntlet. They play all of regulation and all 3 maps in their semifinal. They had to play a long and drawn-out quarterfinal, and it takes them 2 separate maps of overtime here in the grand final. But after all the maps they've played, after all the overtimes they've had to face, and after all the Rainbow Sixe Siege they've played here in the VESL Championships for Rainbow Sixe Siege, they can call themselves champions.
Well, an excellent series. Cancer Crab really stepped up, played absolutely brilliantly throughout what I would say was the entire week. Got to give him the MVP, I think, truthfully, to the success there for Broke Boys, who are, well, I guess not so Broke Boys, at least for the next few weeks until they blow through all that money, whether it's upgrading their gaming gear or whatever it may be, entering in more tournaments. That being said, that's it for the one-off. Brilliant event, lots of fun moments. Dan and I certainly enjoyed ourselves. I know our observer did too. We had a lot of good chuckles, but overall, it was a good time. It was a lot of fun to bring Rainbow Sixe Siege to you all here on VESL.
Yeah, I gotta say, we also had some decent competition that was brought through as well. A lot of times when you see events like this, I've seen high school events that are nationwide have less competition here. But when competition is brewed from the start and teams are told, hey, this is a potential you can drive down for the extent of your high school career. VESL is running this for everybody in the state of North Carolina, for the entirety of their career inside of high school. It gives them so many more opportunities to say, oh yeah, I can play this game without having to worry, oh, do I get to play it for the next week? Am I only playing it for a single tournament? Odds are these tournaments are going to be much more consistent across the board, Mason.
And I hope that it continues not only across the board, but across the states, now that North Carolina is doing an excellent job in setting the example. Of course, I think a few years ago, if I remember correctly, I had some buddies that actually went to NC State when their R6 team was extremely competitive a couple of years back, and they got a huge investment from the state of North Carolina. So I love what North Carolina is doing overall, investing in esports and building out that brand and another opportunity for students to use.
So did UNC Greensboro here. UNCG, I think they're the Pioneers. That may be the
That sounds
mascot?
accurate. That sounds accurate.
I'm not sure. It's some
It looks like
university.
a Trojan. It looks like a Trojan.
There is it's like the Pioneers or the Miners or something along those lines in the general vicinity of North Carolina. They also got a
not
big
an expert.
influx from the state of North Carolina. But the abridged version is VESL's giving so many people so many opportunities to play video games in general, not just Rainbow Sixe Siege. And speaking of which, if you'd like to go take a look, you can go register now at vesl.gg. Check out the various events we have on the horizon. Overwatch was originally, or Counter-Strike was originally going to be this weekend, but we have 2 more regionals heading into states the weekend after Memorial Day, so that has been moved. The dates are to be determined. Overwatch is scheduled for the 3rd weekend in April. That would be 2 weeks after states wrap up, and we've still got more tournaments to come, hopefully over the summer and across the board in VESL as we move into the regular season of the semester play once more. Don't forget, follow us across all of social media, check out all the events that VESL has to offer, and don't forget, as mentioned, regionals this coming weekend, states in 3 weekends. We've got more VESL action across the board, despite the fact that it does not, unfortunately, hold Rainbow Sixe Siege. That's it for the Rainbow Sixe Siege tournament here at VESL. I've been Time to Late. That very handsome man has been Klimps. Hopefully we see you for the next one, assuming there is a next one. But despite it, thank you very much for joining us. We've had an absolute blast across these 3 days.